Have you always been like that since you were young or younger?
Younger, thank you. You could shut down a coal power plant in Great Britain.
Really?
Yes, it is equal to 81,000 turn and return flights from London and Madrid.
Well, I know how I would respond if someone said, I'm going to correct you. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
that's how I read it.
we need to start it and we need to define it. And then actually I went to a number of government agencies and talked about this initiative because I thought it has to be put somewhere where it's neutral. But unfortunately, those are not moving very fast.
Welcome back to The Switch. Not just another podcast, but a platform where we want you to engage and to make sure that you are on the same path as us when it comes to switching over to a renewable, better, cleaner, and healthier planet. We are so thankful that you're with us, and we hope that you will help us to share, to comment down below and make sure that you engage and debate, because we want your opinions, we want to hear from you, so please do that. In the studio again, as usual, with my absolutely amazing team behind the cameras, Jacob, Emil, how are you guys?
Doing good. How are you?
Doing good, thank you.
Yes, Christina, how are you doing? Are you excited for today's episode?
I'm so excited for today's episode. When we got this tip, it was so interesting because it was a friend of mine, actually Niklas, who was here a couple of episodes ago.
Yes.
Yeah, and he told me like, I have a person you need to meet. You're gonna have like instant energy, and I was like, oh wow, that's like intense words to say, but she lived up to it. Are you ready for me to introduce her?
Please do.
We can feel that energy coming. It's building up.
It's building up. Here it goes. The person we are having here today is an engineer who became an entrepreneur, who now runs one of Sweden's most recognized IT companies, NOX Consulting. She has made an exciting journey, and the successes have come thanks to her curiosity and different leadership mindset, the courage to launch or latch new trends, and to look into the gig economy. Some of her greatest achievements are being named CEO of the Year, just like that, for small companies in 2019. Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year, Female Shooting Star in 2020, and Business Life's Most Powerful Female Entrepreneur in 2019 and 2021. That is completely amazing. Pernilla Ramslöv, I'm so happy to have you in the studio. Welcome.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure being here today.
Well, the pleasure is all ours. Let me just start by saying a quote that we found from you. You said that one of your beliefs is that when you give, you get back. Can you explain a little bit more about that?
I think to me, that's common sense. It goes in everything that you do, in relationships, in the business. You get the relationships you deserve. The more energy, the more warmth, the more love you put into a relationship, the more you get in return. And the same goes with business. I mean, it is people do business with other people, and it's so much about being curious, being engaged in other people also creates good business. So, I mean, to me, it's common sense. And start by giving, start by being curious. Makes them perfect.
In a world full of KPIs and indexes and things to follow up and balance sheets, this sounds really encouraging and also like an easier world to live in.
I agree with you. And I think if you do those things, if you are that kind of person, and if you, the KPIs will come automatically. So start doing the right things, and the right things will come back right at you.
I think we already got to know you a bit by answering just this question, but I'm also curious in getting to know a little bit of the other sides of you. Let's spin the wheel of question and see what that has in line for you.
Wheel of questions. What makes you laugh?
I'm all into games and doing, just crazy stuff outside the box, if you will. So, and I think
what could that be?
I mean, it could be. Have you seen that show, Best in Test? I don't know what it's called in English.
I think it's actually called Taskmaster. Isn't that right?
Yeah, that's right.
That's it. We got it.
We got it. I mean, those kind of sort of games where you sort of do like you need to be creative at the same time as you make a challenge. Like you need to create this ball of this, and then just see what happens. And it can come up with so many crazy ideas. And I think those are the times when I laugh most.
I can also imagine that when you are in that situation, you get there are so many blunt and fun things that happen.
Yeah, right, yeah. And it's just no limits. I think that's. Being creative and
I love that. Right now, for me, it's actually cats on YouTube. My son has a thing for that now, so we are watching a lot of cats on YouTube. Crazy cats. I can actually give you a good laugh there. I promise you.
Wonderful.
Well, let's see what more we can get to know about you.
Wheel of questions. What motivates you to do hard work?
I'm a person that's being motivated by doing the impossible possible. So if somebody says to me, "There's no chance you can make this happen, Pernilla," then these little horns grow out of my forehead. It's like, I bet you I can do that. So yeah, I'm that kind of person.
Have you always been like that since you were young or younger?
Younger, thank you. When I was a kid, I wanted to be an inventor.
Yeah.
And I think I watched too many of those Professor Balthazar. Balthazar, that guy. And everything turned in. All of my inventions turned into a button where you could push, and then the world became fluffy and glorious, and lots of flowers and so forth. So, and my parents always encouraged me. They always said, "Of course, Pernilla, of course you can do that. Of course you can make this invention. Of course you can be the first woman in space." And so I grew up with no limits, thinking that everything was possible. So I think that's the answer to your question. Have you always been like this? Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
It's kind of like Pippi Longstocking from Astrid Lindgren. You're like, have you ever done this before? No, but I'm sure I'm good at it. Yeah. It's like, I like that way of thinking, and that's probably also what got you to where you are today. I want to actually go down and talk a little bit more about your vision, missions, and dreams, and how you got where you are. Let's dive into it. Pernilla, one of the reasons you're here is absolutely because of all your successes. But what I'm curious about is how you have created those successes, in a sense. And you're always talking about different leadership mindset and humane leadership. The terms, they are associated with your name, basically. What's your view on leadership today and in the future?
So I think it was about 3 years ago, no, maybe a little more than that, 4 years ago, where I started to talk about lovingful leadership. And that might seem to be very, female and fluffy and so forth. But to me, that's
bullshit. I call awesome on that one. I love it. Yeah.
But to me, I mean, that's very much very down to business, and it's very concrete, and it's so much about how I view how we can really excel in both as human beings, but also in our companies. And it's very much about focusing on the positive sides of a person, seeing all those positive sides and make those flourish. Because we all have sides we're not so good at, things we're not so good at. But there's a reason why we're not good at those things. It's because we don't like them. We haven't practiced enough doing them, and there are other things that we love doing. And why focusing on those things when we can focus on the things that we are good at? Because if we focus on things we are good at, that we like doing, I mean, we can just make them go to the stars.
Yeah.
And the beautiful thing about that is the things that I'm not particularly good at, somebody else loves doing.
Love that thought,
and
yeah.
then it's so much better that somebody else does that. So first of all, it's about focusing on the positive things. Second of all, it's about seeing people. Seeing people for who they are, and not just for what they do. And the third thing is about tough love. We also need to talk about things that, you know, if we do need to give criticism sometimes. But it's a huge difference if you provide that criticism with, I'm going to correct you, or if I provide that criticism that I want to make you better.
That's a big difference, yeah.
It's a big difference. And the thing is that, how do you respond to that? If you...
Well, I know how I would respond if someone said, I'm going to correct you. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
that's how I would.
I mean, it's simple, but it really, and if you have that mindset, thinking about companies, thinking about individuals, you will automatically make both the individuals and the company flourish. Once again, to me, that's common sense.
I think it is common sense, but as we mentioned before, the world is driven by KPIs and numbers in a sense. And also, when I go into companies and talk to them, it's always they are looking at what's not functioning. So there's one thing to be good with people, but there's also a mindset to have what are the opportunities? What can we do more? What do you think about if we turn this to the climate question and a situation? We have a situation where we talk very much about the bad things and what's going to happen if we don't do it. Do you think that we are too little focusing on the opportunities and what it can be? What's your thought on that?
No, I 100% agree with you. And I think we need to show those positive things and talk about those things, because then people will start to do it. If we always talk about the negative things, people will think, well, there's no point. Why should I even care? Because, the world is going to explode anyway. But if we really start focusing on, the progress that we're making, all the things that we could do to make things even better, and start a movement, I'm 100% certain we'll make things happen so much faster.
I definitely agree with you, and that's another reason why you're here. You have a powerful platform that you stand on, appointed to be the most powerful businesswoman, entrepreneur. What do you think your responsibilities are when it comes to making sure that we make the switch, and how we do that? If we're saying that we need to do it positive, how would you use this?
I think your point on, I have a responsibility. I've been given that responsibility, that power, if you will, to use my platform, because of all these nominations and awards, I get listened to. And then it is my responsibility to do something positive with that, to show leadership, to be a thought leader for other companies and to show that this way of doing things and this way of working is creating difference for the entire world.
Do you think that people in your position with your privilege are using it enough?
I think many people with power are using it for more potentially their own sake than for the greater good. And I think that says something about them.
Should it, like, I have an idea now. Should it, like, if you have a company and you have revenue, should it be in the working title that you need to work for the greater good? Is that like something that should be in every CEO's and chairman's description of work?
Good idea. And I think that companies that don't will die the dinosaur death.
Yeah.
So I think if we talk about the leadership of tomorrow, the companies of tomorrow will be the companies that do things for the greater good, because people want to work for those companies. People want to work for a purpose. So I think the sooner
they will clean out eventually.
Yeah, and hopefully sooner rather than later.
I know that an important aspect in the NOX operations is sustainability and social responsibility, but what does that actually mean in practice if we go to your own?
So what we did a little more than 2 years ago is, I mean, we've been, since day one, we've been working with corporate social responsibility. It's been a part of our DNA, and it's been our way of marketing and showing the world who we are. But since 2 years, a little more than 2 years back, we actually created a sustainability platform, because we had so many things that we were doing, and we had a need to communicate what we were doing. So what we did was we mapped all our business processes towards the global goals and to the stakeholders. And
so the SDGs 2030.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes. And then the result of that is our focus is 5 different goals, and we have both communication plans of what we've been doing, what we're currently doing, and what we plan to do. And it has really helped us. So, and it's from every perspective, also from the stakeholder perspective, both from our consultants, our customers, our employees, and the world.
Can you give an example of such an initiative that you have been working on?
Well, one of those initiatives was we started programming camps for kids. And this was 2015, because we realized that so many kids are using technology, they're gaming, they're consuming technology, but we need more that can actually find the joy of creating with technology. So, so more than 5,000 kids has been learning coding through NOX Academy.
That's amazing. Maybe that's the future president. Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows? Somewhere there, yeah, I hope so. Definitely. Another thing you are the initiator of is CIOCO2. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
I would love to. And this is something that I realized just 1.5 years ago. I've been in the IT industry for more than 20 years. But I haven't thought about the sustainability aspect of the IT industry until 1.5 years ago. And then I realized that we do have a pretty large climate footprint as an industry. And very few people had thought about that, at least in the business world.
True,
of course,
definitely. I've been in that industry, so that was not a topic of ours.
No, and realizing that it is a fairly large problem, and it's a problem that is escalating in a large scale, looking into the future. So it's something that we really need to address now.
Agree. So what is the goals of it? What are you doing with it?
So it's 2 major goals. One, to create awareness in the entire industry that we are both a climate hero and a large negative impactor of the climate. And the second is to create a toolbox for everybody to start doing differently. Because when I started to talk to CIOs, many said, well, first of all, I really didn't think about this. And second of all, I have no idea where to start. So, and we need to start, and we need to start now. So that's why we said we need to help them.
You say we, who are we?
So it's NOX is we are actually doing it as a company, even though we do it under the umbrella of CIOCO2. There are currently, we will have, of course, many people like Niklas, your friend, who is supporting the initiative and adding content and contributing to the initiative. But we also have more than 250 companies supporting the initiative right now and working with the government. Yeah, so it's really creating a movement.
That's amazing. It's kind of interesting because I think that what you're telling us about now is something that I think many companies can learn from. Sometimes you need to take an initiative from a company and put it outside so it can run faster, in a sense. Was that a decision done by you, or how did you come to that decision to put it outside and make sure it got the growth it needed?
Yeah, it was a decision that I took, and first of all, realizing we need to start it and we need to define it. And then actually I went to a number of government agencies and talked about this initiative because I thought it has to be put somewhere where it's neutral. But unfortunately, those are not moving very fast, and in my world, not fast enough. So, and since who I am, I said, we're doing it and we're investing in it. So, but we have to put it outside NOX because it shouldn't be. It should be associated, but it's not what NOX is doing. It's a completely different thing, and having it under a brand where a number of companies can contribute and be a part of.
It's really something we can learn from. A lot of companies need to understand that in order to make change, we sometimes need to run fast, and the company that you are starting the initiative, it could be the one slowing it down. So I think that this is a very brave decision to put it outside. And I think that honestly, there are so many companies that can learn from it because they're always like those couple of people in every company that actually do something really cool. It would be very interesting to see if you let them loose, what would happen to the world? What do you think?
I think there's so much creativity out there. There's so much innovation. And I think also that innovation happens everywhere in every day in what we do, and we need to, as you said, let them loose, make them try, and that's so much about in our culture. We have a culture where we say, just do it.
Just do it.
Gjort.
Gjort in Swedish, that's an expression they should learn.
Just gjort.
Gjort. Let's go back to the IT world, the industry when it comes to sustainability. What should be the goals for the future for the industry?
Net zero.
Net zero. Okay, explain, elaborate.
No, so and I mean there are the industry is has a possibility to solve many of the climate challenges that we have, the challenges in society. But we need to build those solutions in a sustainable way. And using technology like the technology of solar energy and so forth. So because the problem with the IT industry is the demand for energy. Is the one problem. The second problem is hardware. Those are the two big issues.
Yeah.
And currently we are consuming a huge number of energy to run all these systems. So what we need to do is we need to build those systems so they use less energy. And we also need to make sure that the energy that we consume is green.
Correct.
Because then we have less problems. And I think the IT industry has a possibility of solving both of those issues, you know, with the right solutions. So, and I think there's no other goal to have than net zero. I mean, we can't have that almost. I mean, it just has to be net zero.
Do you think that it's up to the companies, or is it up to the governments? For example, Microsoft, they have actually net negative, I think, as a goal in a sense, which is pretty like forceful in a sense. But the governments are still discussing, should we have 1.5 or should we go up to 2 degrees and so on? Do the governments have too low expectations, and is it up to the companies to run this?
I think government should never low expectations, and I think awesome. We need to work together, both the government and the companies and the entrepreneurs, but it's the entrepreneurs and the companies that can run faster than the government. But we need to work hand in hand. We need to run fast and slow. We need to work to the point, and we need to work broadly at the same time, where the government can create policies for entire industries, whereas the companies can run initiatives that can create ideas and innovation that can support entire industries. So we need to work hand in hand.
I completely agree with you. Pernilla, I just want to go back to the goals for the IT. Can you elaborate a bit more on that? Can you give us more examples?
Of course. So when it comes to energy, just think about it. Everything that we do is zeros and ones. And all of that ends up in a database, that ends up on a server. So, and all of these things consume energy. So think about all the photos that you have in your cell phone. You probably have a couple of thousand photos on your cell phone, and
maybe more.
Maybe more. And you have it because you can have it, and you have it because it's free, and you don't know that it actually creates a footprint, but it does. So. And just give you an example. In Great Britain, there is a big politeness when it comes to emailing. So people go, great, thank you, thank you, thank you. So if everybody in Great Britain stopped sending the last thank you email, you could shut down a coal power plant in Great Britain.
Really?
Yes, it is equal to 81,000 turn and return flights from London and Madrid.
Whoa, that's massive.
I know, and you think that can't be true. But the thing is, this email is in my outbox, it's in your inbox. I'm not great at cleaning my old emails. Maybe you are not. I have my email on my laptop. I have it on my cell phone, maybe my iPad as well. You have the same. And on top of that, I want to be extra polite. So I CC 5 of your colleagues saying, Christina, what a fantastic lady that is. And
please don't do that now.
And all of a sudden, I mean, it's on their cell phones and their laptops and on servers and stuff. It's a ripple effect. So everything that we do, I mean, think about if you have your photos, if they would cost £1 or $1 per,
I would probably
clean
them out.
You probably delete them, but it doesn't. So digitalization, it's like everything is in the cloud. You can't see it. It disappears. We don't think about it. But it's so much waste, and all of this waste is consuming energy.
We need to start thinking about everything like a big trash pile.
Yes.
In a sense. So all the photos, emails and stuff, oh my God, I have to clean so much now.
Yeah, I mean, you probably took 20 pictures of your child playing football. Maybe just save the one that was the picture.
And also, going back to passionate leadership, maybe that thank you very much is even greater when you get it face to face, looking someone in the eyes.
Absolutely.
Love that. We are using
We're using
this one very much. We can put this away. No, I think we're coming down to that one when we're going into uncomfortable conversations, I think. But before that, it is time to talk to the future.
Ooh.
Here are questions from our future.
Questions from our future.
Do you believe we can make the change needed?
I am a positive person. And therefore, the only answer is yes. Of course we can. However, in order to make it happen, I think it's so important that we need to do that sort of activation of individuals. People need to feel that I can be a part of the change. I can be a part of, be a difference every day in everything that I do. I think today, as we talked about earlier, I mean, there's so much negative and there's so many of these big problems that I feel like, I mean, the world oceans. Hey, I'm just a small girl from Sweden. What can I do about that? So I think it's making sure that everybody feels that I can contribute. So we need to engage people and activate them because yes, then we can make the change. We are amazing individuals. Hey, we sent people to the moon. Of course we can make that change.
I love
so,
that, yeah.
I mean, it's just what we want to do. And creating that willingness in everybody, of course we can make the change.
Full stop. I don't need to add something to that at all. Pernilla, I'm taking you to a rather uncomfortable conversation because I know that you will give me some answers and we can move forward.
Uncomfortable conversations.
I read in a report from the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change that women are very much underrepresented when it comes to decision-making positions when it comes there. Only 24% of national-level climate negotiators are women. What's your thoughts on this?
It's more than women in general in leading positions, looking at CEOs, and which is good, but on the other hand, it's too little. And I think, I mean, this is probably not politically correct what we're going to talk about now.
But it's okay. I like
but
that.
It's okay. I think, and I'm going back to, I mean, I'm going way back. I'm going back to the savannah. When we lived in the savannah, it was the women that was gathering food, taking care of the children, you know, staying in their little huts and doing that. The women collaborating, working together. The men were out fighting and killing and whatever they were doing, and the one that killed the most animals and the biggest animals were the one with most power in the village, in the community.
Same today? No?
I think there's something to it. I think there's something in our genes that could definitely, probably by somebody be questioned. But I think it's something in our genes. I think it's something in the culture, in how we're grown up, and you know, the norm, how we're looked at. And if we could have more of that caring and for each other and for our children and working together, we would have a better world. I mean, it's not the one with killing the most countries and killing or going out there and building their muscles. That's not what we need. We need collaboration. We need caring about each other. We need caring about the world. And I think that women has a greater capability of doing that.
Quote. And I think that you're onto it. We need to have a collaboration. And I think what's wrong here is the ratio. If we would have been 50-50, then our strengths would have played out each other, and it would have been very good to have that strength and the power and that part. But we also need the other part, and that's underrepresented now. I actually have another fact here that women are making up only 28% of the workforce globally when it comes to climate. That's also a very low amount. So we're talking about engineers out there, we're talking about IT people, like all of these, and that's not a male role or a female role. No. It's actually a role.
It's period. Yeah.
What do you think we need to do about it? So what do we need to do to really correct this?
I think there are many things that we need to do, but I think we need those. We need thought leaders. We need people like yourself, being there, showing that women can do things, and the ones that are in power need to take on that responsibility of showing what is the right way of doing things, and inviting others into the community. What we need as women, because I think we need also to think bigger and bolder and be braver.
Here, definitely. But how do you become brave in a climate where you're underrepresented and pushed down? So what's your advice to women to climb up the ladder and to stay there? What would you say?
Believe in yourself, and make sure that you have others that cheer for you, and work together with others that can cheer for you, and just realize that, I mean, you're perfect just the way you are, and just do it.
And I also think that you have something there. You need promoters. This is something that we can be better at. And we over the gender, so to speak. People that actually want to do something for the greater good, they have ups and downs. It's not always a pleasant situation to be one of those who want to do the greater good. You feel down sometimes, and you need those promoters around you.
Definitely.
Who's your promoter? Who gives you the energy?
I have many promoters. So first of all, my entire team at NOX is great promoters, and all my friends and family, and but also, I mean, it's where we started. When you give, you get in return, and if you promote someone, you get the promotion back. So I think it's all about also being a person that promote others, and I mean, it will automatically happen, and that's the beauty, working together and winning together and saving the world together.
I'm going to give you a great chance to give that something to someone. It's time for the sunshine.
I want to give my sunshine to a very special person that works together with me on this initiative, CIOCO2. She has a background from the corporate world, and she's now moving into the government world, and so doing both sides, and really are being that glue of people and organizations, and her name is Eva Listi.
Oh, Eva, I know Eva from Systembolaget before.
Yes,
right. So she has really done a great difference for not only the company selling alcohol in Sweden, but also for the industry.
She has, and she's doing even more now on a bigger scale, and I'm so impressed with her, both with her passion and her drive, but also her her worth as an individual, and how she constantly gives.
Wow, hat off to you, Eva Listi. I'm happy that you were mentioned on this show as well. We're moving to an end. I've had a wonderful conversation and very inspiring conversation. It feels like when we talked on Teams the first time, you get out of it and you feel like you can actually conquer the world. So my summary is definitely you give that to other people, what you actually are talking about. So thank you for that. What would be your summary? What do you bring with you from today's conversation? What are you going to do more differently or in other ways?
I think I'm going to add you in my under here and have you as a part of my life and I think a wonderful conversation, truly a warmth, and Niklas was right. It's love at first sight, and but I think really reflecting on that jointly we can be so much more powerful.
Thank you. It was an honor to have you here, Pernilla. I hope that this episode will be shared and shared and shared again. I hope you will comment. I hope you will debate. And I hope that maybe we actually made you angry or happy or sad, because that's when you are going to engage. And that's how we're going to spread this through the algorithms, because this is actually something we want to spread. But make sure to clean out your photos and make sure to take care of someone, yourself, and possibly a third person. Take care and be good.
Awesome.